Here's a good transmission control computer for an automatic transmission out of a 1991 Accord. Let me zoom in a little bit for you real quick. Okay, I had one of these go bad, and I just want to show you the parts to look for. This resistor here burned out on mine, original one. I believe it burned out because the capacitors failed and they pulled too much current and caused that resistor to burn out. These are all these capacitors here. Over time they tend to fail. These ones here for sure are electrolytic. Well, they're all electrolytic capacitors, and they have an industry-wide problem of failing over time. Again, if you have one of these go bad, things to look for is your resistors, and just, you can usually spot them when they're bad, and them your capacitors. I would just go ahead and you could look up the value of the capacitance and then the voltage, and just go online and order replacement ones of the same value. And again, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 capacitors. On mine, I just swapped out all the capacitors. Had to change out that one resistor because it was burned out, but none of the other resistors seemed to be affected. And after changing out those components, the computer seems to be working. I have my repaired one back in my car, and I've been running it for about a week, and it seems to be working fine. One thing to note, if you swap out a computer unit like this, when you disconnect power to it and plug it back in, it resets the computer, and the computer will be fresh, and you won't have trouble. Like mine would go into limp mode, which means the S light would come on your dash, and the computer would throw it into your transmission into like third gear, so you could drive around still, but it won't change out of that on its own. And so it won't do that until it perceives errors repeatedly. So my point is when you disconnect power, reconnect it, it might actually drive for a day, maybe two, before it starts going back into what I call safe mode, to where there's a problem. So when I worked on it, I had to kind of drive it really hard. When I didn't have to drive it hard, but I had to drive it for a few days, preferably a week, to make sure the problem doesn't reoccur. Because again, just disconnecting the power, reconnecting it, it could clear it out for a couple of days and then it'll occur again. But it seems to be working well. Previously I stated that I thought that Honda had redesigned this. After re-looking over all the parts, I don't think they redesigned it. I think another manufacturer helped them design this. This does not look like a Honda design to me, because it looks like Accord and Intel were in the process of making this board. The green board itself, or the motherboard, looks like it was designed by Accord, and it looks like Intel. That's definitely an Intel CPU. I don't know who did the programming for them. I've heard a friend of mine say that I don't know if it was GM, but one of the other American car manufacturers may have gotten together with Honda, and they shared their technology on how to do the automatic transmission, and Honda shared some other technology with them that they were lacking in. And that kind of makes sense, because again, to me it doesn't look like Honda. I mean, why would Honda go to... Although, it's interesting, they're definitely Japanese capacitors. But then again, they probably had influence on what components went in there. And I don't know if that story is true about the two companies working in collaboration to make this unit or not. But anyways, just wanted to give an update. The video, the switch out of the capacitors and that burnt out resistor did fix the problem, and saved myself quite a bit of money and learned quite a bit.